Some college football, Amal Shah's favorite sport. And you've got a few things that we're going to touch on here. And this is for not necessarily just new bettors, but novice bettors and experienced bettors alike. A couple angles to jump into before the weekend gets underway. And one is right now to go bet Alabama, in the futures market.
Yeah, absolutely, to win the SEC. Right now, Georgia's the favorite, and rightfully so. But when you look at Alabama, Patrick, everybody forgot about them when they lost that game to Texas in week 2. Well, you know what's happened? Alabama's defense has gotten better. They have a top 25 total defense. They're top 20 in scoring defense. They're slowly coming back to where we expect them to be. But because it's Alabama, the bar has been set. It's undefeated season national championship or it's a failure. But we are not talking about this team that could still get into the college football playoff. Look, they're plus about 230 to 275, depending on where you get the number to win the SEC. And it may not seem like the greatest number, but Patrick, you got to go back a long, long time to bet Alabama to win the SEC without being at almost a minus 110, plus 120 type of situation.
Yep.
This is the best value you're getting on this Crimson Tide team. Jalen Milroe's getting comfortable. He's much more effective than where he's been in the past. But, Patrick, one other thing to take a look at is the schedule. They've got a marquee game this weekend against A&M. And I know A&M's got a top 5 defense. However, if the Crimson Tide can get past this game, they knocked off Ole Miss, they get LSU at home, and they're at Kentucky. Those are the games they got to navigate, but they're going to have margin for error with the way the rest of that division is, still to be able to get to the SEC title game. And then you would have an opportunity, if you don't like Bama against Georgia or whomever else they play, you can hedge out. Let's say it's Kentucky and they knock off Georgia this weekend. You're going to get Bama as a favorite against Kentucky probably.
No, it's a great point. Plus 260 right now. As Amal said, get it before this Saturday. Plus 260 SEC for Bama. The big guy hopes you're right because he's got Bama to win a natty at 40 to 1. Amal, let me ask you a follow-up on that. Who's the biggest challenge right now to Alabama winning that SEC West?
Patrick, this might surprise you a little bit. I'm going Texas A&M. LSU didn't get boat raced, but their defense did down in Oxford. Alabama's already beaten Ole Miss. So now for Ole Miss to be able to get there, the Crimson Tide would have to have 2 losses in conference play. A&M has their best opportunity, the non-conference loss against Miami. No shame in that when you dig into Miami's numbers. But more importantly, this is going to be the game that's crucial to which team that's probably going to represent the SEC West. I don't think this game's getting enough hype on Saturday. When you look at A&M right now, Max Johnson is the guy. Connor Wegman out with the injury for the rest of the season. That's a big blow for this A&M team. The running game, and by the way, how can the A&M running game not suffer when Devin Achane's been probably the second best running back in football behind Christian McCaffrey so far this year? So this A&M team's going to have to be effective through the air against the Crimson Tide. If they can do that, they've got an opportunity to be able to win what should be a marquee game in front of a great crowd at Kyle Field on Saturday. But Patrick, in my opinion, whoever wins this football game is going to probably be your representative in Atlanta come that first Saturday in December.
Love it. Let's do the same thing with the ACC because you've been a big supporter of Florida State. And Florida State right now, $1.65 favorite in the ACC. But you also have an approach if you want to tackle Miami. Miami right now, 6.5 to 1.
Yeah, I can't take full credit for it. I got to give credit to our producer, unfortunately, on this one. Dustin Swedelson was the one who initially kind of turned me on to the Hurricanes because we were talking about it after the A&M game. He goes, "What'd you think?" I said, "Miami looks good." I said the Hurricanes look good, and then I watched them against Temple. I know Temple's not obviously the caliber of these types of opponents we're talking about, but they have put it together. Patrick, real quick, I want to throw a couple stats out there for you. There are 2 teams in college football right now with a top 12 scoring offense and a top 12 scoring defense. Penn State and the Miami Hurricanes. I don't think people are aware how well this team is playing offensively and then what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. This team just continues to flourish on both sides of the football. Van Dyke is playing very, very well. This team is really putting it together. They're doing it running back by committee. The passing offense is in the top 21 in college football. The rush defense, if you had 5 downs, you're not getting a first down against the Canes. They're giving up 1.92 yards per carry, okay? You're not even getting it in 5 downs. That's how well they're playing right now. When you look at this Miami team, I think people are forgetting about them. And to your original question, why they're a good bet right now, because they're about plus anywhere between $4 to $5 to win the ACC. And you're going to have some hedging opportunities and some opportunities to make some moves within that conference where you can make a bet. They could still lose the ACC title game, and you could still make a profit.
And almost up to 650 them all, so even a juicier number. I love that angle from you right there. And, of course, we're going to see these two face off, right? You've got Florida State, Miami coming up, November 11th? That is in Tallahassee.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, it's going to be a great rivalry game. But if Miami loses that game, they're okay as long as they're able to win the rest of their games. The biggest challenger right now is going to be Duke and Louisville. Clemson's got 2 losses, so they're virtually eliminated. And if you're the Miami Hurricanes, you look at your schedule and you sit there and go, okay, we're sitting at 4-0. We're in a great position. Coming off of a bye week, you got Georgia Tech. You're at North Carolina. You have Clemson at home. And then Virginia to close out the month. These are all winnable games. Where the rubber's going to meet the road is in the final 2 weeks, and this is why I think this is such a good bet, Patrick. You're at Florida State November 11th. Let's assume they have the loss. Now you play Louisville. You're probably going to be a pick 'em in that game. If you don't like Miami's chances at that point in time, maybe injuries or Louisville's playing particularly well, you can bet Louisville to win that game straight up. Take away your risk that you have on the ACC championship game with Miami, but at 6.5 to 1, let's say you bet $100. You get $650 back if they win the conference. Total take back is $750. You let the Florida State game go. You're not worried about it. The Louisville game comes up. It's a near pick 'em. Take the Cardinals on the money line. You bet 110 there, fine. And then you go to the ACC championship game. If Miami doesn't beat Florida State, you have another opportunity to take the Noles, or you can let it ride. You have a great opportunity to make a profit, regardless of Miami winning the ACC or not in Charlotte on that first Saturday in December.
Brilliant. Succinctly put. I love the way you're approaching the SEC conference-wise and also the ACC. What stood out to me when you're talking about the ACC, you brought up Louisville, you brought up Florida State, you brought up Miami. You left out Dabo and the boys at Clemson, which I like as a South Carolina alum. I like it. Is wild. It's quite competitive. Miami's legit.
They are legit. I don't think people realize when you look at this team that they've got some playmakers on this team. The secondary is very, very good. But more importantly to me, it's the quarterback play. They've got experience, and they've got a good backfield there for the Hurricanes. This team is dangerous. Restapro has been outstanding at the receiver position. They've got some playmakers on this team. They're a much more dangerous team. They're completely flying under the radar. And quick point on Clemson. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. When Brent Venables landed in Norman, it was over for Dabo Swinney. I thought it was going to take 2 years for the demise to start, and it is year 2, and the plane is descending.
Nice. Love it. Great breakdown. ACC and SEC ahead of this weekend's matchups. And as a Miami alum, Mr. Swedelson's got to be in a good mood. No, big guy?
He's a fan of what's happening.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.